Welcome back to EndZoneBlog.com's Across the Middle show. I'm your host, John Kuzma, and thank you guys for tuning in to our latest episode. We're going to talk a little bit about CeeDee Lamb and how he's stealing the show on Hard Knocks, doing a great job out there with the Dallas Cowboys. We're also going to talk about Trey Lance and whether or not he's been the best quarterback in the preseason. And I'm not just talking about rookies. I'm talking about any quarterback. Let's start with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb has been a great player going all the way back to his time with the Oklahoma Sooners. And what I mean by that is nobody's better at making an acrobatic catch than CeeDee Lamb. He's the best ever. And I'm talking about of all time. CeeDee Lamb is so good at playing above the rim. And I know that's a basketball term, but it's the perfect way to describe how Lamb can elevate or outjump any defender and make a catch. He doesn't even need much space to operate. He gets to that back corner of the end zone, and a lot of other receivers will run out of real estate. But because CeeDee Lamb can jump up and high point the football, and then he comes down and finds a way to get both feet in bounds, he can work in smaller spaces than most other wide receivers. We've been seeing it on Hard Knocks. Dak Prescott said he's his favorite person to throw a go route to, just because if you put it out in front of CeeDee Lamb, he's going to go get it. A very fast player, a great athlete, runs great routes. We saw him run a go route and then hit the defender with a hesitation and then beat the guy deep. And, then the quarterback can just kind of drop it in the bucket, so to say. And that's what CeeDee Lamb does to the quarterback. He makes the quarterback's job easier just because he's such a, he's such a craftsman of the game. He works on his craft and he perfects it. Whether it's route running, whether it's coming down with an acrobatic catch, or making sure that he catches that fade in the end zone, even if he has to out jump the defender that's lined up against him. It's no problem for CeeDee Lamb. This is what he does. This is what he's always done since he's at Oklahoma. And Jerry Jones was smart enough to realize, hey, the Sooners got a really special player in CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to take him in the first round. And now in his second year, I think he's one of the guys that's poised to really make a huge jump. And don't be surprised if this guy is a superstar in the National Football League, just because he has everything you're looking for in a wide receiver. And, if Dak Prescott gets healthy and can be out there for the majority of the Cowboys games, you can expect big things from CeeDee Lamb, along with the rest of the guys on that offense, whether it's, Amari Cooper or Michael Gallup, Blake Jarwin, whatever it is, because, CeeDee Lamb is going to, cause the defense to focus on him, and that's going to create opportunities for the other guys because they're going to have to roll the coverage towards CeeDee Lamb, and that's going to create one-on-one matchups for the other players on this offense. The next topic we have is Trey Lance, the best quarterback of the preseason, and not just out of the rookies, just out of any quarterback. And, it should be mentioned that he's tied for the most touchdown passes in the preseason. And I know some people are saying, he's not ready yet. And some people are even saying, Zach Wilson's been better. But you just don't accidentally throw these touchdown passes. And let's not forget that Trey Lance has had a lot of drops too. These guys are dropping his passes. And he hasn't gotten enough help from his receivers, but the fact that he has the most touchdown passes in the preseason, tied for the most, I think it's 3 right now, it says something. He has, the touchdown to Travis Benjamin. Also threw a nice fade route to Trent Sherfield last game where he put a lot of touch on his pass. And I think what's big about Trey Lance is he's getting it done from the pocket, because we saw him run a lot when he was at North Dakota State. The fact that he's making the transition to the pro style where you have to win football games from the pocket, that's what it takes for a quarterback to be successful in the NFL. Trey Lance has done pretty good. Had the touchdown to Sherfield in week 1 as well. So, yeah, some of the completions weren't there because of drops, and maybe he was a little inaccurate on some of his throws. But, maybe those guys that are more accurate and go 8 for 9 in a short stint in the preseason, but, those same quarterbacks can't hit those big plays that Lance did. So, the long pass to Sherfield won't be there, or the long pass to Travis Benjamin won't be there. Think about a guy like Kirk Cousins. I could see him going 8 for 9 for 90 yards, no touchdowns, and no picks. But, Lance is throwing these touchdowns in the preseason. And, if you can manufacture touchdowns, you can live with some incompletions, because ultimately touchdowns are more important than completions. That's my big takeaway from it. Trey Lance has been great, and Zach Wilson's been good too. Mac Jones has been good. Trevor Lawrence isn't in a good situation, but he's been good as well. But Trey Lance has been pretty good, and he's actually been better than a lot of the veterans as well. So if you're a 49ers fan, that's something you're very upbeat about, because this guy is making plays. He is generating offense. And it looks like Jimmy Garoppolo's time is getting shorter by the week, because as Trey Lance, puts touchdowns on the board and manufactures points, it becomes obvious that the 49ers can survive without Garoppolo. And in fact, I think Garoppolo is a step backwards, because Trey Lance is such a great athlete. He's got a better build than Jimmy Garoppolo. Sure, Garoppolo right now might be a little bit more accurate, but it's not enough where you want to put Trey Lance on hold as the backup quarterback. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, I want to get his development going right away because of the explosive plays and the fact that, he does have a knack for throwing touchdown passes. If you get that going even more than what it already has been in the preseason, then, that might be the key to the 49ers season, because if he comes out there and he's putting up 3 touchdowns a week, that's a lot better than going with Jimmy Garoppolo. I know a lot of fans don't want to hear that. They want Trey Lance to sit on the bench and wait. But I'm just really not about that. The funny thing is about all these rookie quarterbacks right now that were taken in the first round is they all look like they're good enough to play. All of them. This is one of the best rookie classes we've seen in a while. And I think when we look back at it, it's going to be one of the all-time great quarterback classes, just because look at the drop-off to next year. This next draft, there's nothing there. So this draft class is really good. Trey Lance, obviously a big part of it, the 3rd overall pick. The 49ers trade up, give up 3 first-round draft picks to move up and get Trey Lance. And now, it feels like the 49ers should just give him the keys to the franchise and let him do his thing, because he's going to give this team more than Jimmy Garoppolo. And it's the perfect system, the perfect environment, the perfect head coach, the perfect time to hand him the reins, so to say, just because, that team had a little bit of a hangover after the Super Bowl. And I think if you start Trey Lance, you end that hangover. Don't let it go another year. Put Trey Lance in there. Get back to winning. Maybe if you keep Jimmy Garoppolo around as a backup, he can be like an insurance policy for Trey Lance. But at the same time, if I was John Lynch and I was the GM of the 49ers, I'd probably trade Jimmy Garoppolo maybe to like a team like the Houston Texans, try to get like a second or a third round pick, because the longer he sits as a backup, the less value he'll have. I think, there's still some trade value there with Jimmy Garoppolo, but you have to do it right away. And, if Deshaun Watson's on his way out of Houston, they want to trade him. Jimmy Garoppolo might be a good fit for Houston, and you might be able to get, a third round pick, which is better than waiting 2 years than maybe only getting a fifth or sixth round pick. So that's besides the point, though. Trey Lance looking really good for San Francisco. Really, that's all I got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in to EndZoneBlog.com's Across the Middle show. Check out EndZoneBlog.com. I'm John Kuzma. I'm signing off.